welcome. This tutorial is going to be about the rule of zero product, and this is something that is very useful in order how to solve equations, and one of the more common methods that is used, amongst others that are also showed in other videos like the PQ formula. And I will show you how the calculation is done with a very simple example. So let's take now, for example, the following equation, which is 2 times x to the power 3 equal to 8x. And well, the very first step is, and as you might remember from the other tutorials on how to solve equations, is that you will look for the numbers that don't have any variable attached to them. But here we have coefficients, variables, and well, the basic approach, or at first sight, it might look a bit confusing. However, what we are starting to do now is we have to figure out how to put something equal to 0 and then basically derive the products that we have then from that. But you will see what I mean after starting with the calculation. So first of all, how are we approaching this? So what we have here is now basically very simple equation, and we do the very first step, which is this 8x, we are moving it onto the left side, so that means minus 8x. So we will have then 2x to the power of 3 minus 8x, and then we have actually no amount on this side anymore, so we have a 0 on this side. And then what we basically have now is something we would also again say, well, how am I supposed to derive a solution from this? However, there's a very simple approach to that, which is actually to factorize the function. So that means we see that we have two numbers with variables, and that we basically can factorize one x out. And how does that look like in the end? So we have an x here and we have 3 x's here. So we have 2 times x times x times x. And we will rewrite this now as x times 2x squared minus 8. We put that into brackets, equal 0. And now there is like the most interesting thing, and like the very clue on how this rule of zero product works and why it is called zero product. There is like a rule when you have two factors that you are multiplying with each other, that if something is supposed to be 0, so if a multiplication is supposed to be 0, then either one of the factors needs to be 0. That means if we will want to have a general rule, we would say that a times b is equal to 0 if either a is equal 0 or b is equal 0. And this basically applies then to every calculation that looks similar to this one. And that's basically where we are going then to move a step further. So with this knowledge now, we apply that to our function. And what does that mean for us? It means that this x is probably 0 and that this whole bracket is also 0. That means either x is 0 or this is 0. And if we assume now that the general rule is true, we can definitely say that we found our first root, which is then x1 equal 0. And then we need to find out the others. So that means we are going to continue with 2x squared minus 8 equal to 0. And then based on this, the calculation is similar to what we already did before in other videos. So plus 8 and then we divide by 2. I'm going to do it step by step. So 2x squared equal 8. Divide by 2. So then we have x squared equal 4. And then obviously the square root, because we have a square for the x. And then we have x2 is 2, or x3 is equal -2. And that's pretty much the whole logic behind the rule of zero product and solving equations with that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful. Other than that, subscribe to my channel and follow me on my social media for updates on the videos. And also, if you have specific questions on mathematical problems, maybe tips or tricks for learning, then either send me a message through social media or comment down below. And I hope you will be here for my next video as well.